So today I'm going to be building one of the world's fastest gas-powered scooters, in theory.
But I needed a scooter. Then I remembered that I had an old scooter stored away in my grandparents' shed. This was an old scooter that I used to ride on, but then eventually I got bored of it and never touched it again. So it went into storage for many years, but now I'm going to repurpose it.
This is it. This is the next project. It's like a 2-wheel or 3-wheel scooter. I got big plans. I already see the vision. I know what to do. Yeah, apparently you're supposed to just shake it and then you go. So I just finally got back home with the scooter. So let's get this out of the truck. There it is. So as you can see at the beginning of the video, I actually got me this scooter that I had for a while now, put it in storage, but today I'm actually going to Predator 212 swapping it, and you might be wondering how. I got a big plan. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to swap the back tires, swap the front tire, swap the brakes, and get an axle and all that stuff. So I know what I'm doing. I'm going to have to reinforce all this with the welds and stuff. So this brake handle is going to be useless. We ain't going to have front brakes. We're actually going to have 2 back brakes. So that's going to help out a lot. I haven't ordered the stuff yet. I just want to take it apart.
So I started to get the plastic pads off of the sides so that I could get to the bare metal.
So basically, I'm thinking of having the axle right here across. But I'm going to have to cut these spindles off and make them completely straight. I'm thinking about having the axle go this way and having the engine right in between your legs. So it should have enough room on the Predator. And then without these wheels being here, I can put the bigger tires, slicks on these either side and have them work like that. This brake is completely useless. It's the front brake, so I'm going to take it off. We don't need that. We're going to be replacing them anyway.
I need to replace these back tires, so I had to unscrew the spindles and take them off so that I could replace them later on. I had to use an Allen wrench and a wrench to unscrew the bolts.
Also, these move so that with the scooter that you can twist back and forth and it'll move itself, but we are not using that. We're wanting stability, so I need to take these out and grind down there and then just weld it straight to here. So basically what I wanted to do was reinforce the welds over here. Basically, even though that these screw in really tight, all the vibrations will unscrew them eventually. So I wanted to reinforce it with welds. Also, so when I cut those off and weld those bearings in, I do not want these to be moved around during the process. So I just weld these to make sure that they don't go anywhere. Now I need to cut those off and weld together. However, I do not I only have one bearing put on one side instead of two, so I'm gonna have to wait and order the other ones. So basically, I'm wanting to borrow this long metal tube and see if I can actually find a good way and see if I can get this straight and see if I can get the axle on without having to bend these tubes back. Honestly, that might work. Okay, so basically this is straight across. This is just an estimate. Now these spindles back here are going to be cut off, so it's just going to be like straight metal tubing, and then I could get the bearings, put them right here, kind of. So basically, these bearings are all going to have this 1-inch bore right here. But I'm going to have to cut these off. So I'm going to be using mini bike brakes for this. So that should work, because these handlebars are about the same size as normal bicycle handlebars.
So the original plan was unscrew the screws and spring that held the rods in place, but after thinking about it, if I were to do that, it would mess up the alignment for the axle. So I decided to go ahead and weld it before time and then just leave it the way it was.
Yeah, probably could fit that engine in between my legs. Ooh. Engine, instead of going straight between your legs, we could put 2 bars over here, put the, and then have the engine go right there. I'm gonna have to put like little tires on the side. As of the time of recording this, I don't know if I'm gonna get mini bike tires to go on each side, or I'm gonna get those 5-inch slick tires. So I'm gonna get the 5-inch slick tires, and I'm gonna have to have a bigger front tire to make sure it's a little stationed. So I believe that I'm going to get the 5-inch slick tires. I believe those are going to work. So I'm going to have to find a smaller sprocket. Probably going to have to get like a 26 tooth or something. Something small enough. This is literally the hardest part. Is getting off the handle. There you go. Here's the plan. So I'm going to take one of these metal bars. This is the heaviest and thickest, so I might end up using this one. Even though that I want weight reduction, this thing still needs a little bit of weight. I might cut it off right here and weld them in right here across these 2 bars and put a motor mount on top of them. Or I could just weld the motor mount across here and just reinforce it with a little bit something else.
I took everything and started measuring it out, making sure that everything will fit. I wanted to make sure everything was lined up perfectly to cut. I went ahead and cupped the sides so that it would fit on the metal tubing a whole lot better. It was now time for the engine mount. I made sure everything was centered and level so that when I weld it, I don't have to go back and redo everything. So this actually paid off.
Okay, so with this, this gives the 2 bars here extra support as well, and with the engine mount here, it'll be all connected, so it'll be solid as a rock. Especially with an engine on it, you want it to be stable. I believe it's going to be pretty stable. Down in there. Those are actually pretty decent welds, especially for flux. I'm bad at flux, but those are actually pretty good welds. So now it's time to put the engine mount on, and it should perfectly fit right here in the center. Okay, now I'm going to see if the welds will hold. Yep. Okay, let's weld the other side. Let me try this way. There you go, that should be better. Alright, so I got this old Predator 212 here. I'm going to use it as a reference for here. See if it'll fit. I just need to keep in mind that there's no gas tank on here, and I have to give extra room for gas tank. So, should be able to fit it right onto there. That's backwards anyway. That's how it's going to look. Just it's going to have a gas tank, and the drive shaft is all the way up there. But no, that ain't. Yeah, that drive shaft is going to be way sticking out there. Nah, that'll be fine. Gonna have the chain right there. That is actually gonna be good. I got these handles and they are going to fit perfectly, and I got this kill switch as well, so I could slide the kill switch on and then the throttle handle so that the Predator engine will fit and actually run. Now I did notice that the bearing mount is not straight, but I realized that it doesn't really matter, as all that matters is that if this is straight across from this so that the axle could go straight. You could literally put that mount like in any direction because it's a circle, so it doesn't affect how the ride is. So just make sure it's straight across. Alright, so it's a new day, and that means new package. This should be more bearing kits to go onto the frame of the scooter. This one's the empty one. Alright, so here's the bearing kits. And I got them from GoPowersports.com, so I'll give them a visit. So I basically needed to order some more to add to right there. As you can see, this right here, the engine, that's the drive shaft, and the centrifugal clutch, I'm wanting to put it right there, and the chain should be right there. Now, you could turn the centrifugal clutch inwards to where the sprocket's next to the engine, like you're supposed to do on the mini bike, to make sure that the chain is further away from your leg. So that's going to be good. So the engine fits nicely. As you can see, it's right there. And even with the gas tank, you got enough room up there. So I finally got some more parts in for the 6.5 horsepower scooter build. They are 6 inches slicks, and they're going to be on the back of the scooter, and I'm going to put them on the 1-inch axle. And then this, we're going to probably see if I could put it on the front of the scooter, but it's a little bent right here, as you can see, but it also has a sprocket. But mainly I needed this for a hub right here for these size tires with 3 holes in them. Not only that, he also gave me some hydraulic brakes that are meant for mini bikes, which I'm wanting to use on the scooter as well. And he also gave me a brake disc. And this, he also gave me a turbo kit for a Predator 670 and a motorized bike exhaust. So thank you, and a huge shout out to Vasily Builds. Thank you so much for all these parts. I got here the hydraulic brakes, and I'm going to actually test fit them as well. They definitely should be long enough for the scooter. I am mainly using mini bike parts for the scooter, and all of them are actually fitting really well. I'm going to have to mount this up.
I already had previous experience from working on motorized bicycles, so this wasn't a hard task for me.
Here. Yeah, the brakes would fit. Brakes will fit. Okay, so I finally got the hole in there. It took me a ton of drills for some reason, but now it's time to put on the actual handlebar. I could never drill those holes right the first time. I don't know why. Might have to sit down towards a little more. No, because when it's level, it's going to be like this. So I finally got this handle on and the kill switch. And if you look over here at the throttle cable, you can tell it works because whenever yeah, look at that. It works. Probably works better than my motorized bicycles. There you go. The main reason why I wanted to go ahead and get the throttle on is because I didn't realize it at the time, but this is actually a right-handed brake. And I'm going to have to mount this on like that. Now look at that. That is actually pretty sick looking, honestly. That's like the whole setup right there. And then I could just put the other grip on this side without having to worry about it. That is pretty cool. Now I have no clue what these are. I never owned a mini bike, so I don't know what these numbers mean and what they do if you switch it. They might have to do something with how hard you press onto the brakes, the brake handle. I gotta tighten these up and line everything, which this is going to fit perfectly. There you go. That's it. Okay, so I just test fitted the brake disc into the brake caliper, and it is a tight fit, and this could barely move around. I think it's because of all the rust and the rough surface. So I'm just going to sand this down just to get it nice and smooth, so it'll be able to move freely, like spin freely in the caliper. And so whenever you engage the brakes, it'll be able to hold on to it and actually stop instead of barely moving and wearing out the brakes. It's a whole lot better now. You can see it can actually run up around this. So that's a whole lot better. Okay, so I'm wanting to take this off. As of right now, I don't really know exactly how. Hopefully it's not welded in there, but I don't think he welded it in there. Tire's free. Now I just left with this whole mechanism here. There we go, finally. This thing was a big pain to get out. Alright, so I just got this axle in the mail. It's about 38 inches long. Has a keyway on both sides. Also some nuts and washers for them as well. Also got these bearing kits as well, so that I could test these out, make sure that they will fit. Alright, so this is a setup so far. The axle is going to go through here. I'm still going to have to weld that onto this side, but I'm going to actually tighten these up, put this on this side, and then allow it to be straightened up as straight as possible, so then I'll be able to tack weld, and that would hopefully work really good. That looks pretty straight to me. Man, that's gonna be awesome. Middle of welding this bracket on, I realized I had to take out the axle and the bearing so I would not ruin them with all the splatter and stuff. Alright, so I just got finished welding this part up, and it looks pretty good. The welds are decent. Might have to weld it a little more, but I'm going to be using this wire brush on this drill to clean up everything. Now I'm going to go and clean up and finish up these welds. They look terrible, so I'm going to go back over them and clean them up. That's everything welded in. The axles are in. And if you look from here, it is completely straight across, and that's perfect. So the engine's going to go right here. That means the sprocket's going to have to line up to right here or so. And then the tire's going to be on. The brake's going to be on this side. No, the brake's going to be on this side. And then the sprocket's going to be on this side. That's pretty good. Now we're going to have to measure and make sure it's all like centered, and see if I could get a tire on. These tires, I'm going to wash them off, go ahead and just clean them up, make them look good. They're two different colors, which of course I might end up painting that in black or just leaving them matched. I don't know. I might paint that in black in the future. Look at that thing shine. Ooh. So it's not as bad. Alright, so we finally got this hub onto the axle, and then now it's time to put on the wheel. I got the specific Allen wrench. Okay, where's the third screw? Do you have it? We don't talk about that. Anyway, I'm taking this tire, gonna slide it up here. Gotta tighten these screws up. So I got the tire all screwed in and everything. I'm going ahead and putting the big washer and nut on here just to keep everything to be nice and safe, and also prevent the keyway from coming out. Alright, so I got the axle in. I got this tire on It's ready to be bolted in. I took out one screw over here. So I unscrewed one of these bolts down in here so I could temporarily bolt this tire to this side because we don't have no screws for this tire or the tire hub, wheel hub. So technically it's just temporary. This tire is coming back off because we got to put the sprocket and the brake. And as you can see, it's not level right now. Basically, we need to level up. So let's see how it looks. We are just finished. We just need to fix everything up. Everything should be coming in the mail here soon. But it's going to be the first time flipping over and seeing it almost complete. So here we go. Ooh, it actually feels really good. It's level. Okay, everything's level. I believe I can keep my balance on this thing. I believe I can keep my balance on this. I don't think I'll be able to fly off or fall off. Nah, you can't fall off one of these things unless you let go. You can't flip it, that's what I'm trying to say. But if the handlebars were a little higher. There. This would be comfortable. Here, you try it. You try it. Tell me your first initial reaction. You think you'd be scared of it? Yeah. Maybe. I believe we could pop wheelies on that thing.
Maybe some air in the tires.
Yeah. We need to fix that. For some reason, I guess it ain't screwed on down there or something. But, I mean, other than that, I believe that it would be kind of safe. Alright, so I got this brand new Predator 212. I'm going to be modifying it as best of my ability. Now, usually you want to break in the engine. So I'm just going to decide to break it in by having the throttle at 20% for a while until it gets fully broken in before I even use full throttle. So it won't mess up anything internal. But let's get this engine out and see how big it is. Alright, so here's the engine. It looks brand new because it is, but I actually got the non-Hemi version, which I meant to get the Hemi version, but it is what it is. But I believe that, I don't know, that's actually kind of crazy. A few things are different, but I believe that they're all going to be the same. Just about the same for both a Hemi and non-Hemi. Just other than a few things. So here's a box full of stuff that I'm actually going to be putting on the Predator. We got the sprocket. We got these extra long brake lines. We got the exhaust and the carburetor. So let's put all the stuff that's onto the engine. Finally got it off. It actually took me way longer than it probably should have. Alright, so I just finished the engine. I got the carburetor on. I might have to level it out a little bit, but I also got the exhaust on. Still got to put the heat wrap on it. But other than that, this should be fine. And I was going to disconnect these, but I'll just leave them there for now. I might need to because I do not want them to go into the engine. However, this should work. This looks awesome. And yeah, now what I'm wanting to do is take apart this brake caliper and replace it with a longer line. I've got 8-foot line here. But first, I'm going to weld these plates onto there for feet. Now it's time to test fit the engine. So I got these metal plates. I'm going to put them for the feet rests. I'm going to put you'll be able to put your feet on them, and then I'm going to put grip tape over them after I paint them to have them nice and safe for what I'm trying to keep this thing as safe as possible for what little safety this thing is going to have. So here's the mock-up of where the foot rest is going to go. I keep calling it a foot rest. I can't remember what you call them. Foot plates. Feet plates, whatever. Alright, so I just finished welding up these foot plates. I got them all welded in, and now I need to figure out how to put the brakes, like the brake caliper on. I need to mount it and figure out how to and where to put the mount. So I might put a bar somewhere in between, but I don't know. I need to figure this out. Okay, so basically the chain is going to go right here where the engine is to the sprocket where it's going to be right here, and your foot's going to be right here. So if your foot slips for whatever reason, it's going to go straight into the chain. So I got this piece, and I'm going to use it and weld it like right here and use it as like a guard to prevent your leg from going into the chain. I probably should do it for the other side as well, but I believe that this side is the priority. So for the brake caliper, I'm going to have to cut this out and line up these screws, cut these two sides off, and then I might weld a tube to it right there so it could hold on to the side right there. This might actually work pretty good. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna work. Now I could screw in the holes. And then I could weld like a tube right here to the actual frame. Alright, so I just got that bracket in right there, and now it's time to weld it in the rest of the way. Well, I realized that you won't be able to get that screw out in the nut right there because the brake disc is in the way. Okay, so I just got done welding with everything. There shouldn't be any more things I should weld. So I'm going to spray it with some primer, and then I'm going to paint over it with either a black or some other color. So I made sure everything's not going to get painted over like that. So just want to get a few things like that bare metal and stuff painted. So let's get into it. Now I'm going to go back over it with a black spray paint. I'm going to cover up these once again and just clear everything off. All right. Alright, here we go. So we just painted this scooter black again, and it looks fantastic. I had a little bit of black paint left and I almost ran out of it, but everything is perfectly fine. And I got the bracket mounted on for the brakes. This thing is going to look fantastic. So I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. Alright, so this adapter for the sprocket would not fit, so I'm going to have to drill those holes to be able to adapt them. There we go, we got this adapter onto the sprocket. We drilled the holes out and now they fit perfectly, so now this is going to work. Alright, so he's got the brake line all zip tied up so it won't be touching the ground at all. Kind of have to shift your foot a little bit in between the carburetor and the brake, but it's now time to actually put the throttle cable in. I'm also going to have to put the gas cable in too. So I'm going to have to probably take off this gas tank, figure out how to do that as well. So let's get into it. Alright, so we finally got the axle completely finished. We got the chain on and the sprocket. The sprocket's in a good place, got the keyway. And then I still need to get a keyway and tighten that up right there. And however, I need to kind of zip tie this brake line. Zip tie this brake line up. And then I might add a chain tensioner and a chain guard for that chain, but other than that I still have to get the throttle cable into the carburetor and change the jet. Sounds like a motorcycle. Alright, so I finally got my scooter down there and it's ready to rip. I'm going to do a test drive. I got to probably situate the carburetor a little bit, keeps backfiring, but I got to probably get to a smaller or bigger jet, whichever one, but let's see how it works. Yeah, you can't steer. thing is sketchy. Something's not right with the centrifugal clutch. All right, so now it's time to take everything apart, take the engine off, and this throttle right here, throttle handle. Alright, so basically the front tire won't steer with these back tires, and the live axle, it's too powerful. Well, instead of doing a differential axle on the back, I'm going ahead and just switching out the front tires. So I'm going to actually have to custom weld a bracket on the front and cut the whole entire front off. Look at this. This actually looks kind of funny though, to be honest. Yeah, there's no way. You can't even turn like that. So I got this tire right here, and I got this bracket. My dad made this bracket from his work, and so it should be compatible with the tire, and that's how it should technically look. I'm thinking about putting this together before welding it onto the frame, just to make sure that I have enough room and clearance. Alrighty guys, so that's the bracket fully complete and put onto the tire. It is going to work perfectly. It even rolls pretty good. Just finished welding this up. This is the front bracket, and then we got this piece welded on, and then this is where the handlebars are going to hook up and turn like that. So that's crazy. So we went from this to that, and that should help out with everything. Alright, so I got two of these plates that are custom made. They are going to connect right here and on here, so that it would be kind of out here, the front tire, and then I could weld it to the frame like that. It'll make this whole frame longer, and it should give more weight to the front. And also, the frame being longer, it shouldn't do much wheelies. Alright, so it's time to finally ride this thing after we finished it. And as you can see, we have actually got this welded up, these brackets, so that it could hold the new bracket and turning system onto the frame. So everything should be held quite nicely with our welds. So this looks mean, and I hope it works better. Should help with the thicker tire to do it should help with stability. It should help with the turning. So let's see if it works. It's Dad's turn now. He's just gotta ease into it. Give it full throttle. Basically what you have to do. Papa Willie! Alright, so after the second initial test drive, I realized that the clutch was spinning and it's too loose. I think it's because of the bolt. The bolt is a little too long. I don't think it's made for the specific centrifugal clutch. So I got a smaller screw, and I need a lock washer and another washer. So this should help with the centrifugal clutch and to prevent the chain from slinging up and hitting you. So I'm going to actually switch these out real quick, make sure everything's all tightened up. That's it. Add this chain guard. I marked out where it's going to go. So I tried this side, it would rub up against the chain. So I'm just going to have to slide it in here and screw it to the engine and zip tie it to the exhaust. And so hopefully that would prevent it from rusting, from rubbing up against the chain. And it should prevent the chain from, if it breaks, to go up and hit you between your legs, which isn't good. We don't want that. So, yeah. So this chain guard should prevent it. And if you need to take it off for whatever reason, you'll be able to take it off pretty easily by just cutting the zip tie and unscrewing it. This one should work. Yeah, I think that's going to work. They're just about the same size. Perfect. Alright, so this is a temporary solution of zip ties, but what I had to do is try to keep the chain guard away from the chain itself, and so it won't rub up against it while the chain's moving around, and while the engine's running, this thing shouldn't move around either. So I was really wanting to weld it up to something, but zip ties is about the only thing I could really do right now. The original plan was zip tie it on the exhaust, but the exhaust would melt the zip ties, and also it just makes the chain guard go up way too much. So I just wrapped it around here. It shouldn't really cause any problems with the caliper, and I tightened it up enough where it just stay right here, and it shouldn't jiggle around at all. So if the chain breaks, it's gonna hit this and possibly hit the exhaust. So the rider should be protected. And now that this centrifugal clutch is nice and sturdy, I think that'd be fine as well. Dude, that is crazy. I don't think it's gonna fly off. Alright, so we made it to the school. We got this thing. It transported really good. It didn't roll nowhere, and it didn't like go off the back of my truck. So I got everything. Hopefully the tires won't go flat on us, because I did forget that to bring the air blower, and then the tire has a leak in it. One tire does, but these two should be fine. So let's get into actually riding it. We're about to tail switch. Okay. Dang. I need to mess with the So I figured out whenever you're giving the gas, you gotta lean forward. Now, if you're gonna let off the gas and use the brake, you gotta lean back because it wants to push you forward a little bit. So you can get it up to pretty good speed, but it's actually really kind of sketchy. But it's not that bad once you get it going. Now, turning on this thing is still pretty bad. You kind of have to take the widest turn you possibly can. But it's actually running really good. So I'm going to try it again. So I'm going to see if I can spin some tires. Fell off. Chain broke. Well, at least now we know that the chain guard actually works. But I just believe that it just fell out. It's missing. So I don't know where that part went. Wonder where it went. Oh, right there. And right there. Alright. So basically, we got to. So this part's the only part that fell off. So that ain't bad. This is still fixable. At least it ain't bent. If it was bent, then we would have to have a problem.
Alright, so I'm going ahead and going to paint this. I'm thinking about painting this part black and that part green and touch up the paint in some areas. I'm going to have to cut off these and then retime afterwards. So this thing's going to look pretty good. I'm probably going to run out of black spray paint, but if I do, I could just do it later. I'm going to make sure I do not get any on the tire or anything like that. Alright, so I'm finished painting. It looks a whole lot better. I like how the black looks on the fork, and I like how the green looks on the brackets right there. Now, this right here, that dirt, that's just grease. It can be cleaned off easily. Now, if you come closer, you notice that it ain't perfect, but I think it looks fine from a distance, and I think it looks fine the way it is. I think it'd be good for a car show. So it looks 100 times better than what it did, just like bare metal or like black or something that doesn't go good with the green. But now it looks actually pretty good. And I also touched up where you put your feet. I painted over those with black too, just to make sure that they are better than they were.
Be doing a price reveal to see how much this scooter costed total. This thing was kind of expensive, but I did save a lot of money. So let's get into it.
Let's get into the back of the scooter. So the axle costed $48.99, but after shipping and taxes, it costed about $72. So that is not really cheap. And so I went to these bearing mount kits. I had to get 2 of them. And so this costed me about $25 for 2. And that was including shipping and taxes. So those were pretty cheap, I would say. The sprocket and the sprocket hub I both got off of Amazon for about $20, which is really good deal. This is about a 44 tooth sprocket, and it should help with speed. It should also help with this scooter getting to 60 miles an hour. Now let's get into the tires. I got 2 back tires and 1 front tire. Center rim on the front, and these are both offset on the back.
These tires were included with a deal that came with the brake caliper and the brake handles, and also the brake disc. Those all came together for $35. I bought these used, of course. This one mainly leaks air, but that doesn't matter. It gets the purpose done for what I need. And this brake disc is really good. Brake caliper works perfectly. Same with the brake handle. Also got 2 wheel hubs in the deal as well, so that is actually really good. It saved me about a couple $100. Now for the front, I did have to buy the wheel hub, and that was costing me about $15. If you can see it, because I needed 3, so I went ahead and bought one with the bolts for the front tire. And after shipping and taxes, it was about $18. Speaking of the front, let's go ahead and talk about the price of the front. So I actually got a used axle, and I went ahead and used it. This was also included in the $35. So I went ahead and stuck it into the front tire in the wheel hub, got the keyway, and 2 more of these bearing kits for about $20. I actually had to buy an extended throttle cable, and that costed me about $12. I got this handle right here, the throttle handle, that costed me about $12 as well. Paint, I didn't spend any money in paint. I already had some black and green paints laying around. Alright, let's get into the most expensive thing of this build, and it is the engine. So the engine itself was $150 from Harbor Freight, and it's a 212 6.5 horsepower engine. And then I went ahead and bought on Amazon this kit. I already had that exhaust laying around. I bought and tried another exhaust. It was too short, so I went ahead and switched this out with my other go-kart. But this was about $30 or $36, and it came with a carburetor. It bypasses the governor, as you can see, and then the exhaust. It helps with the airflow, which makes it faster. So now this engine is technically a 8 horsepower engine, which spins the tires really good. I still have to tune it. I still have to figure out how to get the idling right and how to get the jet. I had to figure out how to jet it pretty good. With the scooter frame itself, this frame was completely free. I got it from my grandparents. They bought it for me a while back, but then it's been stored in their shed for a while, so I just reused the frame. These extra brackets here were free as well. My dad made them at work. He custom made them. Me and him, we drew up a little concept, and then he made it at work, and it fit perfectly. That right there saved me pretty much a lot of money. If I were to order it online, that probably would have costed me somewhere around $200. Same goes for these feet rests. They are also free from my dad's work as well. They are just random plates of metal. I was thinking about adding some grip tape to them, but I guess I don't need them. However, this engine mount right here, I did have to pay $16 for it, and it came with the screws for the engine as well. So as you can see by my notes, this is actually a lot of planning went into this build, and a ton of price estimates. I did forget to mention the centrifugal clutch, which was about $28, but with shipping and taxes, it would probably be around $35. So the original price for the build was actually $735.95. However, I did source the parts that were used and got them for really cheap, which ended up bringing my total down to $459 total for this scooter. And that's the estimate, but if you include the chain, which I already had the chain lying around, the chain would have been like $32. So add that if you wanted to, which would have been $491 if you include the chain, but I already had the chain, so I'm just going to leave it like that. So almost $500 for this scooter, and it actually rips pretty good. I believe that I could get it up to 60 miles an hour, but it's so sketchy, and also the chain would break. So the chain broke. I'm gonna have to fix that. These tires got smoked, which is awesome. But this thing is actually really scary. Let's see if I could, if you guys want to see me ride this thing again, please let me know. If you want to see more of this thing, please let me know. Because as far as I know, might be the last video I'm going to do of this thing. I'm going to actually start up a next project and work on a different project. So this thing is pretty cool, I was thinking about taking it to a car show. However, the car show isn't until the end of this year, the one I'm wanting to take it to. But I don't think I'm going to go ahead and scrap this if I really wanted to, and reuse all the parts for a separate project. I have a couple of projects in mind, and if I reuse all the parts like the axle and all that, it will save me a ton of money. I got a few things I want to get, I know I want to do. Well guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you guys are really interested in knowing how much this thing actually costed, please let me know. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all on the next one. Please subscribe and like, and I'll see y'all later.